Hey everyone, Shaedow here. This is just a short video showing you a couple of mastery builds that I use and switch between. I'm hoping that it'll help someone who is playing around with their masteries. Now, the first thing I would like to say is that there is no one perfect mastery build. Anyone telling you that there is one ultimate build or one best build doesn't know what they're talking about. Now, there are certain individual masteries that are so good that you'll find them in most builds, but the build itself can change. Now, the first build we're going to look at is my general standard build. This is the one that I use the most. I use it for Alliance Quest, Alliance War, and general questing. Now, when I really want to grind arena, I use a different build which we'll show after this one. Now, the masteries here to the left are fairly standard. Depending on what you're doing, you can put points into courage, but of course that means that you'll have to take them from somewhere else. So it really just depends on whether you feel those points are better spent in courage or elsewhere. Now, you'll see that I maxed out glass cannon. I did that because I really do like glass cannon and the damage increase. You only lose a little bit of health and it's really negligible. I believe it's well worth the points, but you can take points from there if you like and put them somewhere else, like into courage or assassin. Now, deep wounds I tend to max out on every standard build that I use. That's because I play with quite a few champions that bleed. Wolverine is a mainstay on my Alliance Quest team. I also just got Gwenpool, and I will rank her to 5 as soon as I can. When you're choosing your masteries, this is the kind of thing you want to keep in mind. What champions do you play with the most? If you have, for example, Spider-Man Stark Enhanced, and you plan to use him in Alliance War defense, then the Courage mastery might be an option. When he goes below 50% health, he evades more, and with Courage, he'll also hit harder. Then you stick him on a Pessimist node and watch the fun times ensue. Now, I used to max out Assassin, and it's still a good option, but since in this build I went Mystic Dispersion, I just don't have the points. Alright, now for the defense tree. Now, the first thing I want to mention is that I do not have willpower. I don't miss it either. Block proficiency I max out on all my builds. It's just that good. I believe it's well worth those points. Energy resistance is okay, and I have maxed it out in the past, and it will reduce Magic's limbo damage by just a little bit. But I got it here just to get the physical resistance, which reduces damage quite nicely. I do like it. But if you guys wanted to put points into courage, this is where you could find the points for it. You can take out 1 point in energy resistance and the 2 points I have here in physical resistance and max out courage. But personally, I prefer them over courage. And finally, we come to the utility tree. In all my builds, I max out parry and stupefy and have 1 point in dexterity. But when I go Mystic Dispersion, which I've done in this build, I put 1 point in petrify in order to get 2 pacify, and I max that out. Pacify can help with Magic's limbo if you know how to do it. You need to push her to almost her first or second bar of power, and then stun her, and then hit her to push her past it. While she is stunned, she will have a 30% reduced chance to proc that annoying limbo. That means she may still proc it often, especially if she is Sig level 99, but this at least gives you a chance to avoid it. And lastly, I put 4 points into Mystic Dispersion. If I were making a build solely for Alliance War defense, I would max this out. That's one reason they don't let you do that for free. I'd have a build for Alliance War defense, another for Arena, and a third for Alliance Quest. But since I'm not rich, I have to use a more general build like this one. Now, you might be wondering why I did not max out Mystic Dispersion. I used to have it maxed out, but what I found is that it was a little bit unmanageable when I was playing certain champions and in certain fights. Like when I'm playing my Dr. Voodoo or my Scarlet Witch, With these characters, you want to strategically use your specials, okay? Doc Voodoo does something very different with his special 1 versus his special 2. And in some situations, you want to use his 1 or you want to use his 2. Same thing with Scarlet Witch, although I generally don't use her special 1 and I want to use her special 2 more often. But what I was finding with 5 out of 5 is that with certain fights, I would reach my special 3 before I had a chance to use my special 2. And that would mess up my strategy. I found that 4 out of 5 is pretty good. Also keep in mind that this build is the build that I use when placing my Alliance Ward defenders. So I want them to have a good Mystic Dispersion. So 4 out of 5 is a sweet spot. Okay, on to the next build. Now, this build is my arena grinding build. I do not recommend this build for anything other than arena, although you can use it for general questing. And if you want, you can use it for Alliance Quest, but I don't like it for that at all. So, to the left, you'll see the same points in the standard places, but there is one difference. This time, I did max out Courage. And I'll talk a little bit more about why when we look at my defense tree. I still max out Glass Cannon, but this time I went ahead and grabbed the Suicide Masteries. Recoil, which is needed to get to them, and Double Edge and Liquid Courage. I maxed those two out. Together, they give me 60% more attack. Trust me, it's very noticeable in Arena. Now, I put 1 point in Deep Wounds and 2 points in Assassin. The idea here is that for Arena, I want to kill as fast as possible. Now, you can certainly take the points out of Courage and put them into Assassin as well. That's viable. I personally think that by the time I'm in Assassin range, the fight is pretty much over. I'd rather have a little boost when I need it, like if the fight isn't going my way and I'm below 50% health. That's 20% from Courage that may be enough to turn the tide. Now, Assassin is great if you're going against opponents that have a lot of health. Like if you're doing Realm of Legends or Labyrinth of Legends, you definitely want to invest points into Assassin. Max it out if you can. Now for the defense tree, I max out Physical Resistance, mainly because I wanted to get to Willpower and I need 15 points. I put 1 point in Willpower and 1 point in Coagulate. However, you don't need these points in Willpower or Coagulate because in Arena, the fights are over so quickly. So another variant to this build is to take the point out of Willpower and Coagulate, take another point out of Physical Resistance, and max out Assassin. Now I promised to talk about the points that I put into Courage. Now since I didn't max out Willpower and Coagulate, it means that even if I don't get hit, I'm going to be losing a lot more health than if I max them out. If I'm not able to dominate and win the fight quickly, there's a good chance that my health may dip below 50%. That's where the Courage Mastery kicks in. It's just a little bit of insurance. I've run suicide builds that have no points in Courage, and I'd max out Willpower and put 1 to 3 points into Coagulate. And finally, the utility tree. Here is my basic setup that I mentioned earlier. 1 point in Limber to open up the rest. I maxed out Parry because I like the damage reduction and the extra stun, and I maxed out Stupefy. I've tried playing with less than a maxed out Stupefy and I really noticed it. That 0.5 extra stun duration can mean the difference between being able to land a second combo or not. Alright, that's enough theory crafting. Let's take a look at this build in action. I've included about 5 minutes worth of arena fights during my arena grind. Take note of how long the fights tend to last and what my health looks like at the end of each fight. There were a couple of matches where I messed up and my health went below 50%, but for the most part, I remained above 50%. So if I really wanted to, I could move the points from Courage into Assassin without too much trouble. So sit back and see why I love Suicide Masteries for arena grinding. that's going to do it, guys. If you liked the video, and I hope you found it interesting or entertaining, please consider clicking like. If you have not subscribed already, please consider giving me a subscription. Leave a comment below, let me know what you thought about the video, and you guys have a blessed day.